The most basic thing, and this is annoying to talk about, over 50% of your readers will toss your script if they see any kind of significant number of errors in these incredibly minor matters. I'm sadly a fanatic about this because it matters.
What are some of the biggest issues you see with people who are trying to now learn how to become screenwriters and get in the industry, and how can we help them hopefully, skip a few of the major issues?
It's when I first started teaching, I was surprised that everybody wasn't exactly like me as a young person. So I started as a writer, not specifically as, for example, a director who realized he probably had to generate those damn scripts or whatever. So what my first surprise teaching at film school was that not everybody had a writing background. And I think a lot of young writers, young screenwriters, don't really think of what they're doing as writing in the sense that a short story writer or a novelist or a playwright does. So one of the things I encourage my students to do is they have to read, they have to watch movies in their genre. Oh, that's another thing. So for at the beginning of each term, I ask my students 20 questions basically about their backgrounds, their lives, their experiences, and so on. And one is, what are some movies that you love? And what genres do you love? Things like that. So I had one student who said he loves science fiction. I said, great, me too. So what are your favorite science fiction films? And he said with authority, Star Wars. And I said, great, I enjoyed it as well. What else? Well, that was it. That was it. He loved the genre, and the genre was Star Wars. So helping people see that there is a continuum of movie history from about 1896 to about 2023, that movies were not invented when they were born or when I was born. They actually precede us, and that they should know movies pretty well. If somebody says Citizen Kane, they shouldn't struggle to place the title. That they have to be knowledgeable about their genre and their subgenre, and in fact, they should be experts on it. So one of the things that I do when they turn in a script or turn in an outline is I say, I want two lists from you. I want you to identify your genre and subgenre, and then I want you to give me a list of the top grossing films in your genre and of the best reviewed films in your genre. And then I want you to put an X next to the films that you have not seen. So then I get an idea of how well do these people know what it is that they're writing about, and I can encourage them about what they might want to see or whatever. And also when I'm reading their work, I can say, have you read this? Have you seen this? There is there's not as much curiosity as I would like to see. I would love to see students being more curious about the time before them. When I started teaching in 2013, for me, it was a joke when I would ask, do we know who Alfred Hitchcock is? Now it's no longer a joke. I am now asking the question seriously. So I'm it's puzzling to me because I grew up loving movies. I literally can't imagine doing this if you didn't love it, because I don't know about your experience, but in my experience, you're a director. So you're in addition to being a writer and a producer, so you get to do the sexy stuff. I'm mainly a writer, which means it's not a glamorous industry. It's a very, very tough industry with the potential for huge rewards of various kinds. But day to day, if you're in it for the glamour, you've really picked the wrong industry. You should be cleaning out sewers instead. So I don't understand what would drive people to want to be in this business unless they love movies, which to me means you watch them all the time. You know, I grew up watching movies on a black and white TV set. So I certainly know a lot of horror, fantasy, science fiction, comedy, and things like that. I would love to see that curiosity in more of my students. The most basic thing, and it's annoying to talk about, but spelling, punctuation, grammar, and syntax, students are not getting better in these areas. And the usual thing that I hear is, nobody cares. And it's like, well, we're not tweeting. The people who are reading your work are probably frustrated screenwriters. That's going to be the first people reading your work. Their job is to find the one project that their boss is looking for. That requires them to go through literally hundreds of projects their boss isn't looking for, which means by definition, their job is to say no to almost everything. And I said, what we're going to do in our 14 weeks together is I'm going to tell you all the things that can kill your screenplay, and I'm going to tell you when you do them so that you won't do them. And one of them is spelling, grammar, and punctuation. And I go, is this just my low-level OCD, Or is this common for readers? So I read online. I read readers saying, yeah, we'll toss something. If we see like there's grammatical problems, punctuation, spelling on the first page, why would we keep reading?
Hmm.
And I read contests, screenwriting contests, where they'll say one of two things. Either we will take points away from it if there's problems with those things, or we actually won't read it, we'll toss it. And I tell my students, my first class, I say, you guys are spending a lot of money to go to Art Center, most of which, of course, is going to me because I'm a vacuum when it comes to money. But you're paying a lot of money, and every single penny that you or your parents or loved ones are paying is a complete waste unless you take the following seriously. I said, over 50% of your readers will toss your script if they see any kind of significant number of errors in these incredibly minor matters, because they'll use it to justify the fact that they don't need to read on. They'll basically say either the person doesn't know the English language or the person knows the English language and doesn't care.
Yep.
And I said, you don't want to be in either of those categories. So everything that I tell you about theme and subtext and characterization and dialogue and conflict and sequences and scenes is an absolute waste of your time if you don't get your stuff proofread before you turn it in.
I used to do this thing I used to get in trouble all the time with the administration for. I just say, "Hey, I'm taking 3 points off for any grammatical errors, typos, whatever." And then, I'd had people in the negative after page 1.
Yeah. No, I hear you. I'm sadly a fanatic about this because again, it matters.
Yeah.
So in terms of what students need, yeah. And some students I find very open to taking notes. Some are open to taking notes, but don't quite know how to turn a note into a change in the screenplay or outline. And some, whether they mean to be or don't mean to be, are completely resistant to notes. I had one student years ago who said, Paul, I'm almost insulted that you would give me notes on my work. And I said, how may I help you in this class then without insulting you? Because it's a notes-based class. I literally don't, that's literally what I do. It's like a swimming class where they go, Paul, I'm not getting wet. It's like, okay, this will be interesting. Um, I would think it would be great if students were, I get why we're protective of our work, and I'm definitely protective of my work. At the same time, if you're paying money to go to a film school and you're taking a writing class, I really encourage students to be sponges. Just take up as much as you possibly can, and argue with me in your head or after hours or email me or whatever. But meanwhile, just try to see what the benefits are to what is being proposed. One of the tough things for writers, and it was certainly tough for me when my first partner and I started working together, was I would get one idea of how to do the film, and then I would just pursue that one vision. And my then partner, to his credit, would say, but we could do this, but we could do this, but we could do this. And I'm going, look, we've agreed upon this. It was a hard enough fight to agree on it. I don't want to make more changes. So that's stupid. And young me should be spanked on his naked bottom. You should always be open to improvements, whether they're your ideas or anybody else's. When I finish my work, I typically give it to half a dozen of my friends who are peers. They're
Mhm.
professional screenwriters, and they'll give me notes. And I do not want to be told I'm a genius. And thank God there's no danger that will ever happen. But instead, it's like, Paul, I'm bored on page 5. Paul, could something happen? Paul, you contradicted yourself. That is great. You want people to tell you where you're stumbling because it doesn't matter how you appear to your friends in terms of your career. It matters how you appear to your readers. And I would much rather look like a complete asinine idiot like I am right now in front of my friends than appear that way in front of somebody who could write me a check and maybe make a movie based on what I'm doing. So I want people to help me identify my errors. It doesn't make me happy that I made the errors, but I am so grateful to them for helping me find my errors and improve my work.